In Psalm 5:7, it says here, but I, by your great love, can come into your house. In reverence, I bow down towards your holy temple. David says, I bow down to your holy temple. Was he a dumb person? David, in the Bible, David, I bow down to your holy temple. Yeah, you tell me what it means. So now you've exposed them. Now they are all educated. Like this.
Ignorant. You're ignorant.
Ignorant people. Ignorant.
What is the definition of holy?
David said, I bow down toward your holy temple. Was he worshiping?
One moment.
Was he worshiping a temple?
To be holy. You don't have to understand it. You're done. Let's give us. We're going to educate.
No, you're not.
We're going to educate you.
Now you're copying
You don't know what holy means. You don't know what holy means.
Holy temple.
What does holy mean?
Bow down to holy temple.
What does holy mean?
Is that worshiping the temple? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
He's saying not. He's saying not.
It's not.
And I executed him.
It's not talking about what you do in the temple. You're an idiot, man. Ignorant fool.
Guys.
Let's ignore them.
What does holy mean? What does holy mean? You come here. Your dad is a dog. Your dad is a dog, man. Your dad is a dog. The dog went there first. See, look who came. Your people came.
Cameraman to them. Okay, anyway, watch this is how to keep the dogs away. When you say come dog, they don't come. Okay, anyway, so what I was saying is very clear. It says here that David bowed down to the holy temple. Dogs, stay out there. That's how I treat you guys. The reason I call them dogs is because that is what Jesus used to call the people like them. Yes, those people who do not understand the scripture, they said that they will trample it under their feet. These are the dogs and the swines. In Matthew chapter 7 verse 6, if you don't believe me, go and read it. Now the reason I use the scripture against them, because they kept telling us that we actually worship the black stone. That we bow down to the black stone, that means we are worshiping it. Now the reason we do not worship the black stone is because nowhere in the Quran or in the Hadith, or if you ask any Muslims, they will tell you that we worship the black stone. However, if they think that see how I kept them away by calling them dogs. It's so good. Okay, so now we have educated them from their own Bible that David in Psalm chapter 5 verse 7, he says, but I, by the great love, and can come into your house, that means the house of God. In reverence I bow down toward your holy temple. Just like for them, the Jewish people, like for David, the temple was holy. For us, the Kaaba is holy. Yes, we actually bow down, not because it is a holy stone or something like that. We bow down because it is a way for us to direct our prayers in a common place, in a common direction. Others, imagine when you go to the mosque and everyone is praying in a common direction, it is in a very civilized way. You can form rows of people who follow a particular direction in which you can pray, just like David was praying towards a temple, and that was their Sharia. That is what they were instructed to follow towards the temple, to pray towards the temple. And in fact, the Prophet ﷺ did pray towards Jerusalem, yes, until Allah told him that now the Kaaba is going to be your new Qibla. The new Qibla is now the Kaaba, and we actually face towards there. Allah wanted to show that He's not in the east or He's not in the west. Yes, there's a specific direction, is not something that Allah is in. And that's the reason He said that, look, it's not very difficult for us to change the Qibla from Jerusalem towards the Kaaba, towards Mecca. And this is exactly the same. Now if you look in Solomon, it says here the same thing. In Solomon, which is in 1 Kings chapter 8, verses number 28 and 9, it says here, yet regard the prayer of your servant and his supplication, O Lord my God, and listen to the cry and the prayer which your servant is praying before you today, that your eyes may be open towards this temple night and day, towards the place of what you said, my name shall be there, that you may hear the prayer which your servant makes towards this place. You see, towards this place, making a prayer towards a particular direction. it is what Solomon says, and this is in 1 Kings 8, chapter 8, verses 28 and 29. So you see, there's nothing new. Praying towards a particular direction is a way in the Old Testament, and also in the case of the Quran. It's in perfect synchrony. Yes, it's in perfect sync. And this is nothing. The reason they actually misconstrue that the Kaaba is something we actually worship is it cannot be more false than anything that you can imagine in Islam. In Islam, we know, and they know as well, that we wouldn't actually associate anyone with Allah. Yes, not a stone, not a man, not a prophet, not anyone. And this is very clear, the message of Allah. He said that we actually idolize the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know why? Because in our Shahada, it says, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. But look at them. Look at them, that how disingenuous they are by saying such a thing, that we idolize Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the declaration of Tawheed itself said that Muhammad is Rasulullah. He didn't say it's Allah. He says Rasulullah means he's a messenger of Allah. Yes, he's Abdullah. He's a servant of Allah. Just like Isa alayhi salam, the first words which came out from his mouth were that what was it? An Abdullah. Yes, or is it Innani Abdullah? Anyway, the correct phrase is in the Quran. But what it basically paraphrasing, it says, I am the servant of Allah. This completely annihilates or basically refutes anyone claiming that he's God. So from day one, he stated that he is Abdullah. He is the servant of Allah. And this is exactly the condition of every prophet of God, that they were all obedient servants of Allah. And they all preached Tawheed. They all preached the oneness of Allah. They all were servants of Allah, even though they were prophets and they were given a higher status amongst the people, because they were specifically selected and chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, you see, our faith is not something which is preaching pagan idol worship or any such thing. Far away from it. Alhamdulillah. The only thing that we can find this is in man-made religions. Yes, like Christianity, like Hinduism, like other religions which actually worship a human being as a human being as God. Yes, because if you look at the Greek pagan religions, they were very similar. Yes, you had Zeus, who was a higher god, then you had Hercules, who's the son of God, and this is exactly the inheritance the Christians got from, because they used to be in the same place. Yes, the Romans used to rule the place where the message of Christianity came, and then it overtook. When Constantine accepted Christianity, he actually merged the two, so he wouldn't actually, he wouldn't alienate his population. So he says, let's bring it in. You take a bit from here and we take a bit from your religion, and let's join them together. Yeah, exactly. And this pantheon of gods, yes, which is exactly what the Godhead is basically, they say in their creed that the Father is fully God, the Son is fully God, and the Holy Spirit is fully God. What does fully God mean? It doesn't mean part of God, it means you are fully God. And if each person in the Godhead is fully God, then it's clearly three gods. So don't tell us that we say you worship three gods. You yourself in your creed stated that you worship three gods. So whether you call it one, yes, maybe it's one team. Call it one team of God, okay? One family of God, yes, then you say one. But that one is not a single unit in your worship of a Godhead. It is actually three different entities that you worship. And you do not differentiate between them. You say they all are co-equal. Yes? So if Jesus is co-equal to the Father, then how can he, and he is not the Father, the creed also states this, that the Father is not the Son and the Son is not the Holy Spirit. Then it can only mean that he's a separate entity from the Father. And if he's a separate entity from the Father, that means he's another fully God. So there you go. It's by your own, statements in your own creed that you worship three different deities, three different gods, even though you might call them as one God, but ultimately it is the Godhead that you worship and not God Almighty. Because God Almighty, according to Jesus Christ in John 73, is only the Father. Yes? If you say we believed in one God and that one God was just the Father, then I would say yes, you believe in pure monotheism. But unfortunately, you believe and worship a triune God, which is the Godhead and not one God. So it's one Godhead you worship and not one God. And And that to me is not monotheism, that's polytheism. And this polytheism is shirk. And this shirk is what Allah has warned us again, that the only sin which will not be forgiven is shirk. What is shirk? Associating with the one true God. When you start associating partners or some other creation or something, and you now deify that, you idolize that as God, then that is shirk. And this shirk is forbidden for us Muslims. It's prohibited. It is the only sin Allah is able to forgive every sin if He wants to, except the sin of shirk. If you repent by your life and you ask Allah for forgiveness, even the shirk Allah will forgive, inshallah. And this is the promise from Allah, that if you believe in Allah, if you believe in the oneness of Allah, and that little iman is in your heart, even to the size of a mustard seed, then inshallah one day you'll enter paradise. Yes? So please, brothers and sisters, those who have not accepted Islam, look into it. Look into the pure monotheism and accept it and acknowledge it, because that is in your fitrah. Your fitrah, which means your natural disposition, yes? Your intuition is telling you that this is something that is clearly a belief that you should adopt. The reason for that is because all this world that we see today, it did not come into being from nothing. Yes, it had a creator. If you look at the fine tuning in the universe, it points and implies that there is a designer out there, and this designer is someone who is beyond our imagination. Yes, in his knowledge, in his ability, in his capability, in his sustenance of the entire world. Yes, is something which is beyond our imagination. And this is something that He has already done, and He has already created. And for us to reflect on this creation, that this is something, this creator is someone that you should worship. Worship in the sense that all the glory and all the thanks and all the praise belongs to this one creator, one Rabb, one Khaliq. Yes, and this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.